Chapter 3. Little Girl All Alone. That afternoon, Stephanie and her mother took the 15-minute drive from Hager to Gardens Estate. Her mom opened the front door and stepped back. "Owner of the house goes first," she said with a little smile and a bow, and Stephanie stepped inside. She wasn't thinking of this house as a property. The idea was too big, too silly, even if her parents were technically the custodians until she turned 18. How could she own a house? How many other 12-year-old kids owned houses? No, it was too silly an idea, too far-fetched, too crazy. Exactly the same kind of thing that Gordon would have thought made perfect sense. The house was big and quiet and empty as they walked through it. Everything seemed new to her now, and Stephanie found herself reacting differently to the furniture and carpet and painting. Did she like it? Did she agree with this color or that fabric? One thing that had to be said for Gordon, he had a good eye. Stephanie's mother said there was very little she would change if she had to. Some of the paintings were a little too unnerving for her taste maybe, but on the whole the furnishings were elegant and understated, exuding an air of distinction that befitted a house of this stature. They hadn't decided what they were going to do with the house. Any decision was left up to Stephanie, but her parents still had the villa to consider. Owning 3 houses between them seemed a bit much. Her father suggested selling the villa, but her mother hated the thought of letting go of a place so idyllic. They had also talked about Stephanie's education, and she knew that conversation was far from over. The moment they had left Mr. Fed's office, they warned her not to let all this go to her head. Recent events, they had said, should not mean she could stop studying, stop planning for college. She needed to be independent, they said, and she needed to make it on her own. Stephanie had let them talk and nodded occasionally and muttered an agreement where an agreement was appropriate. She didn't bother to explain that she needed college, she needed to find her own way in the world, because she knew that if she didn't, she'd never escape Haggard. She wasn't about to throw her future away simply because she had come into some money. She and her mother spent so long looking around the ground floor that by the time they got to the bottom of the stairs, it was already 5 o'clock. With the exploring done for the day, they locked up and walked to the car. The first few drops of rain splattered against the windscreen as they got in. Stephanie clicked the seatbelt closed, and her mother turned the key in the ignition. The car spluttered a bit, groaned a little, and then shut up altogether. Stephanie's mother looked at her. "Uh-oh," they both got out and opened the bonnet. "Well," her mother said, looking at the engine, "at least that's still there." "Do you know anything about engines?" Stephanie asked. "That's why I have a husband, so I don't have to. Engines on shelves, that's why man was invented." Stephanie made a mental note to learn about engines before she turned 18. She wasn't too fussed about the shelves. Her mom dug her mobile phone after the bag and called Stephanie's dad. But he was busy on site, and there was no way he could get to them before nightfall. They went back inside the house, and her mother called a mechanic, and they spent 3/4 of an hour waiting for him to arrive. The sky was gray and angry, and the rain was falling hard. By the time the truck appeared around the corner, it splashed with puddles on its way up the long drive. And Stephanie's mom pulled a jacket over her head and ran out to meet it. Stephanie could see a great big dog in the cab of the truck, looking on as the mechanic got out to examine the car. After a few minutes, her mother went back inside thoroughly drenched. "He can't fix it here," she said, bringing out the jacket on the porch, "so he's going to tow it to the garage. It shouldn't take too long to fix. Will there be room for both of us in the truck? You can sit on my knee." "Mom!" "Or I can sit on your knee, whatever works." "Can I stay here?" Her mother looked at her. "On your own?" "Please, you just said it won't take too long, and I'd like to have another look around just on my own. "I don't know, Steph. Please, I've stayed on my own before. I won't break anything, I swear." Her mother laughed. "Okay, fine. I shouldn't be any more than an hour. All right? An hour and a half at the most." Her mother gave her a quick kiss on the cheek. "Call me if you need anything." She ran back outside and jumped in the car next to the dog, who proceeded to slobber all over her face. Stephanie watched the car being towed off into the distance, and then it vanished from sight. She did a little more exploring now that she was on her own. She climbed the stairs and went straight to Gordon's study. His publisher, Seamus T. Steep of Art Light Books, had phoned him earlier that day, passing on his condolences and inquiring about the state of Gordon's last book. Her mother told him that they'd find out if Gordon had completed it, and if he had, they send it on. Mr. Steve was very keen to get the book on the shelf, certain that it would crash on to the bestseller list and stay there for a long time. Bid was to sell, he had said. Like you proved to Gordon, several marketing drawings. Stephanie opened the desk drawer and found the manuscript in a neat gap. She pulled it out carefully and laid it on the desk, careful not to smudge the paper. The first page held the title, nothing more in bold lettering, and the darkness reigned upon them. The manuscript was thick and heavy, like all of Gordon's books. She read most of them, and the odd flashes of pretension and sight had quite enjoyed his work. His story tended to be about people who could do astonishing and wonderful things, and the strange and terrible events that invariably led up to their bizarre and horrible deaths. She noticed the way he would set up a strong and noble hero, and over the course of the book, systematically subject this hero to brutal punishment in a bid to strip away all his arrogance and certainty, so that by the end he was humbled and had learned a great lesson. And then Gordon killed him off, usually in the most indignified way possible. Stephanie could almost hear Gordon laughing with mischievous glee as she read. She lifted the title page and carefully laid it face down on the desk beside the manuscript. She started reading. She started reading. She didn't mean to spend long on it, but soon she was devouring every word, oblivious to the creaking old house and the rain outside. Her mobile phone rang, making a jump. She had been reading for 2 hours. She pressed the answer button and held it to her ear. "Hi, sweetie," came her mother's voice. "Everything okay?" "Yes," Stephanie answered. "Just reading." "You're not reading one of Gordon's books, are you, Steph? He writes about horrible monsters and scary stuff and bad people doing worse things. It would give you nightmares." "No, Mom. I'm reading the dictionary." Even the brief silence from the other end of the phone was skeptical. "The dictionary," your mother says. "Really?" "Yes," Stephanie said. "Do you know that Papa is a word? You're stranger than your father, you know that? I suspected as much." "So is the car fixed yet?" "No, and that's why I'm calling. They can't get it going, and the road up to you is flooded. I'm going to get a taxi up as far as it goes, and then I'll see if I can find some way around on foot. It's going to be another 2 hours at least." Stephanie sensed an opportunity. Ever since she was a child, she had much preferred her own company to the company of others, and it occurred to her that she had never spent a whole night without her parents nearby. A small taste of freedom, and it almost lingered on her tongue. "Mom, it's fine. You don't have to. I'm okay here." "There's no way I'm leaving you in a strange house by yourself." "It's not a strange house. It's Gordon, and it's fine. There's no point in you trying to get here tonight. It's lashing rain. Sweetie, it won't take me long. It'll take you ages. Where is the flooded?" "Come over, pause at the bridge." "The bridge? And you want to walk from the bridge to here? If I speed walk—" "Mom, don't be silly. Get Dad to pick you up." "Sweetheart, are you sure? I like it here. Really, okay?" "Well, okay," Mother said reluctantly. "I'll be over first thing in the morning to pick you up, alright? And I saw some food in the cupboard, so if you're hungry, you can make yourself something. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow then. Call us if you need anything or if you just want some company." "I will. Night, Mom."